back for more action. Welcome back, guys. Hold My Helmet Football Podcast. I'm your host, Will Reichling. A couple weeks ago, we did the AFC predictions for the NFL in 2025. Now, this week, we'll do the NFC predictions. This is, I think, now, a couple of years ago, with all the stacked quarterbacks in the AFC, I thought the AFC was the stronger conference. Now, I'm starting to think the last couple of seasons, Jaden Daniels coming in, Jalen Hurts winning a Super Bowl, the NFC has become the stronger conference. So this is going to be tough, but I'm going to get into it right now. Like, subscribe, share, and let's do it. This is going to be fun. So the NFC, let's start with the NFC East. We got the Commanders, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants. I think the Commanders are going to win the division. I think they took a huge step up last season with Jaden Daniels. And think about it. Their roster going to 2024, no one thought the Commanders had this great roster. I didn't. We all know you didn't either. But Jaden Daniels comes in. All of a sudden, now going to 2025, the outcome is completely different. The predictions are completely different. He goes to the NFC Championship game, goes square toe-to-toe with Jalen Hurts. He beat him in the regular season. Yes, he got blown out in that NFC Championship game. But there's a huge step up for the Commanders. I like their head coach in Dan Quinn. They added pieces. They got Deebo Samuel in the offseason. They added Von Miller, who's kind of at the end of his career. Laramie Tunsil, the tackle, traded with the Texans. Zach Ertz, they re-signed. I mean, they're in win-now mode. They are in win-now mode. I think Deebo is actually going to be a huge addition. I think Deebo's going to have a bounce-back year, not having to be the focal point of the offense. He can be more of a gadget guy. You have Terry McLaurin, who can be the route runner. So I think Deebo's going to be a good fit here. And I think Jaden Daniels, who only carried them last year with a worse roster, is going to come in this season and take it to the next step. I know people think I'm probably too high in Jaden Daniels, but I think he's already an elite quarterback in the league. I already think he's a top 7 quarterback in the league. And yes, he could have a sophomore slump. We all know that. But based on what he did last year with not the talented of an offensive roster, he really impressed me. And I just think the Commanders are going to take another step forward this coming season. So 13-4, Washington Commanders. Second place, I have the Philadelphia Eagles, the former Super Bowl champions, coming into this season. The current Super Bowl champions, I must say. 11-6 for them. So last year they went 14-3, slight step back, 11-6. I mean, it's a little bit of a prediction here. Super Bowl hangover. I mean, you lost Kellen Moore as an offensive coordinator. We all know what happened when you lost your last offensive coordinator in Shane Steichen. You had a little bit of a regression there. So there's a little bit to be expected. I mean, Saquon signed that 2-year extension. Lane Johnson got an extension. Cam Jurgens got an extension. They brought back key pieces. Zach Bond. They signed Adoree Jackson, the corner. They lost a couple pieces too, but then they drafted a couple pieces. Jahad Campbell, the linebacker, in the first round. So I still think the Eagles are going to be a really, really, really good team. But to win 2 Super Bowls in a row, to be dominant 2 years in a row is very, very hard to do. So yes, they're going to be a great team. They're going to be just like they were last season. But I think this offense takes a slight step back. I think Jalen Hurts takes a slight step back. Not any knock on Jalen Hurts. I still think he's a fine quarterback. But I just think the Eagles, after winning a Super Bowl, have a little bit of a hangover here, especially after losing Kellen Moore, their offensive coordinator. So Eagles, second place, 11-6. So third place, the Dallas Cowboys. Last year they went 7-10. I think they go 7-10 again. Look, I don't trust their head coach. I like Dak in the regular season. I really do. They added George Pickens. I mean, the offense might be capable, but I don't trust their head coach. I think it's a joke that they hired. Like, he's been an offensive coordinator for, I think, 2 decades and has never gotten a head coaching job. So that says it all alone. Now, look, hindsight 2020, probably should have kept Mike McCarthy in there. I just don't think this team's just a little weird to me. Right now, if the vibe feels weird, the team feels weird. I don't think they're going to be a great team. I think they'll be competitive. Obviously, the Cowboys, they have a decent roster, but something's missing. A spark is missing from this offense. You have CeeDee Lamb, obviously, Ferguson. You add George Pickens, got Dak, but I think something is off with this team. I think everyone's feeling that way. I feel like they had a weak free agency. You know, the additions like Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams. Maybe Javonte Williams could hit, but Paris Campbell, like these are people that are fringe guys at this point. Paris Campbell's really fast. We all know that. Dante Fowler, like Solomon Thomas, who's been a backup on the Jets. I mean, it's a little sketchy here for the Dallas Cowboys. So third place, 7-10. And in last place in the NFC East, I got the New York Giants going 6-11. Yes, they signed Russell Wilson. They signed Jameis Winston. Re-signed Tommy DeVito. They even signed Javon Holland at safety. They had a corner in the Deebo. They draft Jackson Dart. They drafted Abdul Carter, obviously. I think this team's going to be competitive. I think they're going to be better than last year. But I don't think Russell Wilson's going to be the guy to take him to the next level. And I don't know if Jackson Dart's going to pop immediately in year one. I think Russ probably plays about half the season. They bring in Dart, and they start to not tank for the rest of the season, but see what Jackson Dart has. And I think it's going to take him some time if he's going to be good in this league. I don't think it's going to be right away. So I just think the Giants are going to be a little bit of a struggle here, but I think they'll be competitive. I think Brian Dable should keep his job after this. The context of the games will kind of tell you if Brian Dable keeps his job or not really the record. So 6-11 Giants. So let's go back, NFC East. First place I have the Commanders, 13-4. Second place, Eagles, 11-6. Third place, Cowboys, 7-10. And fourth place, the New York Giants, 6-11. NFC North. This last year, for sure, was the best division in football. The best division in football last season. So it's going to be tough. You got the Lions, Packers, Vikings, who were great last year, and the Bears, who have all the talent in the world, especially on offense, and a decent defense as well. So first place, I obviously have the Detroit Lions, winning the division again. 15-2 last season. Slight step back, 12-5 here. Look, you lost both your coordinators. That is a big blow. You lost both of your coordinators. You lost a great defensive mind and a great offensive mind. So having a slight step back is to be expected here. I would not freak out if I'm a Lions fan. You still could make a playoff push. You still have a great offense. You still have pieces on defense that you added. You added DJ Reed from the Jets, the corner, who was great a couple of seasons ago. You added a defensive tackle in the first round, a guard in the second round. I mean, I think you're fine. You're fine if you're a Lions fan. I wouldn't freak out about 12-5. Win the division. So Lions 12-5 right there. I think you're just fine. But look, you lost a lot of pieces too. Your center retired, Frank Ragnow. Centers are really important. I think they're underrated in the league. They basically are the captains of the offensive line. So you lose your center, you lose your guard Zeitler. So a little bit of regression expected here. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, your center retired. You lost your guard. So You did draft a guard in the second round, though. I'll give you that. But I'm going to go 12-5 here. Lions still win the division. Don't freak out on me. So second place, the Green Bay Packers. Last year going 11-6. This year I have them going 11-6 again and coming in second place. So it's going to come down to what Jordan Love is in this offense. But I had a huge video last season that got a lot of views about them having a bunch of number 2 receivers and not a number 1. So hopefully Matthew Golden comes in the first round, draft him in the first round. Hopefully he comes in and he's productive right away. Because you have a bunch of guys, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks. Tucker Kraft's a really good tight end. But I feel like, Romeo Dobbs. Did I say Dobbs? I probably said him twice. But you have a bunch of guys who are really, really good, not great. So hopefully Golden comes in, kind of gives you that explosiveness that you need, consistently that you need. So I still think he's going to be really, really good. I think Jordan Love bounces back from his up and down year last season. Kind of started with the injury in week 1. So hopefully he stays healthy here and he has a good season. Packers 11-6, second place. Third place, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears at 9-8. Last year they went 5-12. I think they bounced back, getting Ben Johnson as the head coach, 9-8. Look, they even added to their offensive line, had some huge additions. Jonah Jackson, traded for Joe Tooney, signed Drew Dahlman. I mean, their line is going to be different. Now, if Caleb Williams can throw from the pocket, the timed routes, which he's shown not to last season, he'll be a different quarterback. We know he can do the hero ball. We know he has a big arm. You know he has escapability. But we don't know if he can do timed routes from the pocket and throw the ball on time with precision, pocket precision. And we're going to see it this season. We're going to find out, because I was a little worried after last season. He took the most sacks by far last season. One of the most sacks in NFL history for a quarterback. But I feel like he held on to the ball really, really long and took a lot of those sacks himself. So I would say that the line's probably like 60% of the blame, and I would say Caleb Williams is 40% of the blame on a lot of those sacks. So I just hope he can go back out there and get back to the fundamentals. He needs to hit those timed routes from the pockets, the slants, the in routes, the out routes, the corner routes. He needs to just sit there a little bit more. You could do some hero ball, but I feel like he just got a little bit too in the weeds, rolled out, tried to do something down the field and didn't hit. That's why DJ Moore got frustrated. He was open on a lot of the routes, the initial cut, and Caleb didn't throw him the ball because he either didn't see him or wasn't confident throwing him the ball. That needs to change. If that changes, they're a big-time team. Drafting, again, Colston Loveland in the first round, tight end. He might be explosive with Cole Kmet. So they have a good offense. I think they have a really good offense here. It's up to them now. Can they produce on it? So I think they will. 9-8. Ben Johnson, great offensive mind. Hopefully it works out. Minnesota Vikings. This year I have them going 4-13. Why The biggest difference out of them all, Sam Darnold replaced with J.J. McCarthy. Not that I don't think J.J. McCarthy is any good. I just don't know. I have no idea. Look at his college highlights. There's some, but there's barely any. There's some games, the Penn State game, he didn't throw the ball at all in the second half. So I have no idea what he is. Sam Darnold threw, 35 touchdowns last season? If you think J.J. McCarthy's even going to come close to that, you're out of your mind. Maybe he has a wow season, maybe not. I don't know. I don't trust him. I think this offense, you saw a couple years ago when Kirk Cousins was out for the season. They were a joke. They were a complete joke. So I think without a competent quarterback, this team is going to go nowhere. And I don't trust J.J. McCarthy. I don't think he's going to be able to I don't think he's going to be the guy that's going to be able to take him to the next step, because I don't think he's going to be anywhere close to what Sam Darnold was, and they were so quick to ship him out of town. Now you have a guy that's unproven in college and is unproven in the NFL. So a guy that barely threw any passes in college, yes, won a national championship, but he wasn't the main guy on the team that brought them there. He was a side character. So how can I trust this guy? How can I say this team's going to be a playoff team? How can I say this team's going to be any good, win games against competitive teams when I don't know? I have no clue what the quarterback is. No clue at all. 4-13 Vikings, last place. NFC West. The NFC West. I have the Rams going 14-3. I think the Rams take a big step up this year. Lost Cooper Kupp to the Seahawks, but they have Puka Nacua as their 1, and now they have Devontae Adams as their 2. That's a ridiculous team. That is a crazy team. Devontae Adams still has a lot left in the tank. You saw in the second half of the season in the Jets, he went off. Completely went berserk. If Matt Stafford can stay healthy, this is a Super Bowl roster. This is a Super Bowl contender. Jared Verse on the defensive side had a big rookie season last year, only going to get better, along with Braden Fisk. They're ready. This team is ready for sure. I think they're going to hit big. Maybe they can make a playoff push, but they're going to go 14-3 in the regular season. I think they're going to be dominant if Stafford stays healthy. Second in the division, I have the Seahawks, who went 10-7 last year, going 12-5. Why? I think Sam Darnold is going to have another big season. I think Sam Darnold, people underappreciate what he did for the Vikings. Yes, he had Justin Jefferson, but he made some big-time throws down the field that were throws that not many quarterbacks can make. And I think throwing 35 touchdown passes last season, I think he could replicate that. If he throws 27, 28, Seahawks are a playoff team. Seahawks are a playoff team, no doubt, if he throws that many touchdown passes. So Sam Darnold, I think people sleep on him a little bit. There's a reason Seattle shipped Geno Smith to the Raiders and signed Sam Darnold. It's for this reason right here. He's going to bring him to that next step, get him to the playoffs, maybe win a playoff game, fight with the Rams, and I think this team is going to be a sleeper. 12-5 for the Seahawks. Third place, I got the San Francisco 49ers going 9-8. So they bounced back from their 6-11 season. They have a really easy schedule. They pay Brock Purdy. They extend George Kittle, extend Fred Warner, but they lost a lot of pieces too. They lose Debo, obviously, who's getting older. Lose Leonard Floyd, Devondre Campbell, Greenlaw, Charvarius Ward, Hufanga. So they draft Michael Williams in the first round, the edge rusher. But I think this team's going to be good. I don't think they're going to be great. I think Brock Purdy's good. I don't think he's great. So I like Brock Purdy. I like this team. Brandon Ayuk off a huge injury. We don't know what he is at this point. Pearsall was good at the end of the season, but we don't know if he's going to keep it up. We have no idea where he is either. So I really don't know what this offense is. Christian McCaffrey coming off the injury, huge injury. So this team's a big wild card. But I think with Shanahan and Brock Purdy, they're going to be decent. They will be good, but they're not going to be great. So 9-8 feels right to me with an easy schedule for them. Last place in the NFC West, Arizona Cardinals going 7-10. They went 8-9 last year. They're going to go 7-10 in my prediction this year. I just don't know. I don't know if Kyler Murray can take this team to the next step. They would start off strong, especially last season. Started off strong and then kind of fell off a cliff towards the end. He's short, can't really see over the line, gets batted on a lot of balls, and he gets injured a lot. You got Trey McBride, you got Marvin Harrison coming back for his second season, but this team doesn't have a wow factor on this offense. So I think they're going to be competitive, maybe even feisty, maybe beat some good teams, but they're just not a team that I see taking the next step and going into the playoffs. I see them having a slight regression here. This might be Kyler Murray's last season on the Cardinals. Might be Kyler Murray's last season on the Cardinals. We will find out soon for sure once the season's over. Last but not least, the NFC South. I have the Bucks, who went 10-7 last year, going 10-7 again, winning the division for another season. So Baker Mayfield, I think, was elite last season, throwing 41 touchdown passes. I think he's entered the top 10 quarterback discussion. I think he's entered the top 7 or 8 quarterback discussion. So led with Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin coming back getting extended or re-signed for a 3-year deal, bringing back Levante David, Sterling Shepard had some plays. So drafting Egbuka in the first round, the receiver, getting 2 corners in the second and third round. I think this team's going to be back, and they're going to be back big, and they're going to win the division again. And with Baker Mayfield just playing the best football of his career, I think this team is a slam dunk to win the NFC South, 10-7. Second place, I have the Carolina Panthers bouncing back in a huge way from 5-12 to 8-9. I really love what I saw from Bryce Young at the end of last season. He showed command, he showed promise, he showed escapability, he showed accuracy down the field, he showed he could make big-time throws in critical moments. I think that they're going to ride with this guy, and he's going to produce in a big way this season. Watch out for Bryce Young to throw 20 touchdown passes this season, which sounds like not much, but it's a big step for a guy that was almost benched and out of the league last season. So they draft Ted McMillan in the first round, the receiver. I think that's going to help. They got Leggett coming back. They have a team here. They still have Thielen. They signed Hunter Renfrow, and what does he really have left? But, they extended J.C. Horn in their corner. They have pieces here. They have pieces. I like what Canales did with this offense last season towards the end. I like what this team showed, the promise they showed, and I think they're going to come back in a big way. I think they're going to be a over 500 team. Do they make the playoffs? I mean, it's going to be close. I'll tell you at the end. But I think they're going to show us that, and he's going to show us that Bryce Young, he could play in this league for a decent amount of time. Might not be a Hall of Famer, but he's a capable quarterback in this league, and we're going to find that out this season. Third place, the Atlanta Falcons, 8-9 last year, 8-9 again this year. I love Michael Penix. I like him a lot. But this team's weird to me. Not crazy about the head coach, Raheem Morris. I just feel like they're a 500 team that's going to be inconsistent, up and down, and it just feels very Falcons to me. I feel like Falcons are going to Falcons again. 8-9 sounds about right. They're in a tough conference, and it's just I think the Panthers are going to take a bigger step than them. That's just how I feel. It's not, some people might not like this take, but it just feels right that the Falcons just missed the playoffs, but they're competitive. I love Michael Penix. I think he's going to take a step up this year. They're going to show promise, but the team's weird. The coach is weird. The GM's weird. This whole situation's a little weird. Kirk Cousins on the bench. They can't trade him. He has no value at this point. Weird situation. So 8-9 for the Falcons. Last place, the New Orleans Saints. Last year going 5-12, and after I realized and saw that Derek Carr retired, and after they didn't draft Shedeur Sanders, I think they're going to go 2-15. I think they're going to be the worst team in the league. I just see a bunch of big losses. Their tackle retire Ramczyk. They lost Derek Carr, their quarterback. They lost a corner of the Giants. They lost their big safety, Matthews, retiring, Tyrann Mathieu. It's not looking good for them at all. Not looking good. First-year head coach Kellen Moore. Like the guy. I think he's a good offensive mind, but he doesn't have much to work with here. I think this is going to be a disaster. Tyler Shuck, the one who was 6 years in college and never popped, and now all of a sudden he was basically a combine guy. How old is Tyler Shuck? Let me find out. I think he's like 25 or 26 years old. Let's find out. Tyler Shuck is 25 years old. He'll be 26 during the 2025 NFL season. September 28th, he turns 26. People are going to say, okay, but what about Bo Nix? What about Michael Penix? This is not a Bo Nix situation. Bo Nix is way more athletic. Bo Nix did way better in college his last season. Okay, this is a guy who has a good arm, but he's going to see live NFL action and he's going to fold. I don't think this guy's the answer at all. I think this is going to be a shit show for them, and I think the Saints are going to be the worst team in the league. So I think the Saints go 2-15. So playoff predictions, playoff seeds. After going through all the records for each division, I'm going to show who I think is going to make the playoffs and what seed. So the 1 seed, I got the Rams at 14-3. 2 seed, I got the Commanders at 13-4. 3 seed, I have the Lions at 12-5. 4th seed, I have Bucks at 10-7. So those are my division winners. Rams, Commanders, Lions, Bucks. 5 seed, first wild card spot, Seattle Seahawks at 12-5. 6 seed, I have the Eagles at 11-6. And 7 seed, I have the Green Bay Packers also at 11-6. I have the Eagles beating them in the regular season, so the Eagles have the tiebreaker. So who just missed? The San Francisco 49ers, like I said, they lost so many pieces, and I think Brock Purdy's good, but not great, but they have so many unknowns about the offense. Brandon Ayuk coming off a huge injury, Christian McCaffrey coming off a huge injury, George Kittle getting older, losing Deebo Samuel. I just don't know how good they could possibly be. I think they'll be decent, 9-8, but I don't think they're going to be great. Chicago Bears, 9-8, big step up from last season for Caleb Williams. Huge progression there, huge progression with Ben Johnson as his head coach now, but I think they just missed the playoffs at 9-8. Carolina Panthers, huge step up for them. They should be proud of going 9-8 here after the last couple seasons, but they just missed the playoffs going 9-8. And Atlanta Falcons, like I said, weird team, weird GM, weird owner, inducting himself into the Hall of Fame, weird head coach Raheem Morris. We don't know how good he is. Kirk Cousins sitting on the bench. They can't trade him because he has no value. Just weird all around there. So the Falcons just missed 2 at 8-9, a little less than the Bears, Panthers, 49ers, but they still nonetheless missed the playoffs by a few games. And the number 1 pick in the draft, New Orleans Saints, congratulations, you suck. You lost Derek Carr to retirement, not like he was great anyway, but he was decent. You draft Tyler Shuck, who's been in college for 6 years and never popped, has a great arm, showed it in the combine, showed it in his pro day, and now get drafted in the second round, the third round? A little embarrassing there. So I think the Saints are going to be god-awful. So those are my predictions. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Take care.